Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Got Somme Season 2, 2023. Over a year, we have been doing this podcast. In fact, we've been doing it for 18 months together, but a year in your ears. Thank you so much for the support last year in the podcast. That's why we're back again for Season 2. Last year, we found, in our opinion, for the wines that we tasted, over 50 of them in Australia, we found what we thought was the best value wine in the Chateau Haut Madrak. But this year, we've given Carlos, we've taken off the leash, and we're letting him fly free. He's a peacock. He needs to fly. He needs to let his feathers be seen. And as a master sommelier, we're now putting in front of him some pretty exquisite wines, including chatting to the winemakers who make those wines. We can tell you some incredible guests that we are going to have in the future, including heading to Tasmania with Devil's Corner to try some of their wines. Looking forward to their latest vintages of Pinot. We're also going to be checking out 10 Minutes by Tractor. Nazare? Bindi Bass Phillip. Nazare's another one. Yep. So we have some wineries locked in. We'll chat to the winemakers. We'll find out what makes their wine so unique. But also we're doing stuff like today. We're launching Season 2 with this. Carlos, when he walked into the studio today and saw the wines in front of us, he went, "What? No way!" And that is because for the last year of doing this podcast, a name that keeps coming up when Carlos references, in his opinion, Master Sommelier's opinion, what are some of the best wines in Australia? It's not Penfolds Grange, it's
Wendouree, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite, definitely. But hello, everyone. And hi, Angus.
Hello,
Thanks
mate.
for having me back again. One more,
one more year, one more time around the sun.
One more year, yeah. And yeah, pretty cool. I think I said a little bit more than that when I saw the bottles.
There was a swear word, but we are a non-explicit podcast.
That's it. So very, very exciting. Absolutely amazing. Couldn't ask for more for the first episode.
It doesn't fit into last year's requirement of being less than $30, but like I said, this year it's about letting Carlos show his experience and expertise with all wine, and these bottles retail from $150 up, but we actually got some incredibly different vintages. So we have a 1999, a 2001, a 2003, and a 2008, and all different styles of Wendouree. So we've got a Shiraz Malbec, a Malbec, a Cabernet Malbec, and a Shiraz Mataro to try today.
Yeah, that's right.
Very blessed to be able to have this opportunity to do so. Carlos, do you want to open a bottle? How do you want to? Because some of these got like 25 years.
We should open, I guess, them all, and yeah, let's just let them shine, yeah.
And through the magic of podcasting and editing, we now have in front of us the same 4 bottles, but now without their corks. So quickly before we get into tasting the wine, can we talk about how you know that a wine, or ways to prevent finding out if your wine is corked? Because when I got these bottles, I saw that all 4 of the level of the wine was equal. So if, like the 1999, for example, and tell me, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
If that was further down, that means that there's more oxygen happening and the cork might be a little bit more taint.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there any sort of thought around that?
No, that's right. I actually checked exactly the same thing, and it's very impressive because all the 4 bottles have exactly the same level, which almost feels a little bit dodgy because
it shouldn't be like
because
that.
It's if the bottles are stored properly, then that's perfect. Of course, that's good. That's really, really good. It's a good indication that the wines were stored perfectly. I mean, I've seen bottles from 1960s, 1970s that have very, very little lowering, if you like. But some others are really, really low, and that's really bad because that means there's a lot of oxygen inside.
Talking about the corks themselves, did you see anything when you pulled those corks out?
No, all the corks are pretty good. Even the 1999, which did break a little bit, just really like half a centimeter off the bottom, but it was still easy to pull it out even after that. But otherwise, no, the corks were pretty solid, all of them. Again, a part of the 99 that just broke a little bit. Yeah. But very good condition, really, really good condition, really exciting actually. Yeah.
Your favorite wine, man. It's exciting for me as well to see your excitement. And so I put down the 4 bottles, and then you've now rearranged them since you've taken the cork out into the order of what you think we should be drinking them. Can you tell us why you put them in this order?
Yeah, so we start with the 2008 because it's a younger vintage, so we expect here to have something a little bit more fruity, something a little bit more exuberant, something a little bit more lifted, which is already with a little bit of age anyway, right? Yeah. So 2008, it's a few years now.
And which one's that, the Shiraz Malbec or just the Malbec?
This is the 2008 was the Malbec, straight Malbec. So which in my opinion is the best Malbec in Australia. I mean, there's not many producers I think making Malbec, but Wendouree is definitely the best.
It's weird because, when we talk about Malbec, we've had them before on the podcast.
Argentina.
Of course, we had the Macho, isn't it? Macho Gaucho, which made your top 3.
That's right.
But, I mean, traditionally Argentinian, right?
Yeah, traditionally Malbec. Mendoza, Argentina, Mendoza, and other parts of Argentina. But originally the grape came from Bordeaux. So 5 grape varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. Those are the 5 red grape varieties in Bordeaux. And then from Malbec and southwest of France, Cahors, an appellation called Cahors, which is 100% or mostly 90%, 70% at least planted in vineyards are Malbec. And then from here it then went to South America and Argentina.
Now, does it work so well there because of the altitude?
Yes, well, Malbec in Argentina is very very high altitude, and actually that was a down back because everyone would think like it's too cold. It's not going to grow grapes. I mean, it can be hot in the summer, etc. But it's also very desertic. So and very very dry. It's literally a desert. So, but yes, because of altitude, cooler climate, but also a lot of sunlight ripening, that just works. And then of course irrigation from the Andes, melting down snow and irrigating the vineyards, that just works really, really well. But here we're in a different part of the world.
Very different. Where is Wendouree?
Clare
Valley, South Australia.
South Australia. And with Clare Valley, we are some of the highest vineyards in Australia, 450 to 500 meters of altitude.
And what's Argentina?
Oh, Argentina is over 1,000,
over
1,000, 2,000 meters some parts.
Wow.
Like Salta on the north of Argentina, I think you reach 2,500 meters, something like this.
Difference.
So really, really high.
But in Australia, 400 meters above sea levels, probably about as good as we're going to get unless you're planting on top of the U-gains or something. So we're sort of drinking in order of vintage.
Yes, from younger to oldest.
Okay. And so what's the next one?
2003. 2003 Cabernet Malbec. So again, 2003, very interesting because Beck vintage, and in Europe, 2003 was extremely hot. One of the hottest vintages in memory. And in Australia, it was a little bit different, was a little bit more moderate, but very exciting to try. Because every time we drink a wine from Europe, 2003 is like everyone knows it's like super dense, super ripe, super concentrated. So it would be very interesting to try a Wendouree.
The next one is a 2001 Shiraz Mataro. Now, I learnt last year that Mataro is just another name for Mataro is Mourvedre.
Mourvedre and Monastrell as well.
Oh, 3 of them.
Yeah, so
but
and
mostly
probably even more.
Mourvedre being from what we would know as GSM, Grenache, Shiraz, Mourvedre.
That's
usually the least of that blend. But they've decided to put it with Shiraz here.
Yeah. I mean, because Mataro is a beautiful grape variety. They do have some plantings, and by the way, very old plantings of all of their wines. But Mataro is interesting because it gives a little bit more of that charred, heavier black fruit, a little bit more spiciness to the already a little spicy Shiraz. So very, very interesting. Just lifts up a little bit more in terms of concentration, the Shiraz.
And the last one we're going to be drinking is the oldest. 24 years it's been waiting to be opened. $19.99, the Shiraz Malbec.
Who is going to take this bottle home?
We'll have to flip for it. So just to let you know, like this is probably like $800 worth of wine in front of us at least. And yeah, so Carlos and I, at the end of all the seasons of Got Somme, all the episodes, we kind of go, oh, do you want to take this one home? And then today is actually going to be a fight.
Yeah, that's right.
Who gets to take it? So
close your eyes, Angus.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I think we'll flip for it. We'll flip for the best. Or maybe we'll have different tastes.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe I won't like that one.
That's
maybe,
right.
But we were meant to have salmon for dinner in my household, so that'll be changing to a steak. I can assure you that much. Let's get into our 2008 bottle.
Yeah.
I think just the straight Malbec, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Straight Malbec, Clare Valley.
Oh, look at the age.
You can see already by the color that there's some age to it, yeah.
Wow.
And we kept the bottles standing for over an hour now. So all sediment has gone down the bottom, settle at the bottom, which is good, important.
What a treat! Look at the
even
color,
though still trying to be gentle.
Wow!
Yes.
It's got like a port kind of look to it. Not the thickness of it, but it's got those edges are so dark and.
But you can
color.
Smell.
I can already smell it.
We haven't put the nose, and I can
smell it. Yeah,
I can smell dried leaf and dried earth. Now, cheers.
Ooh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, wow, some
You see, remember when we had
super secondary, tertiary,
tertiary, yeah, a lot of tertiary. I wouldn't say that. I don't pick, and
any
maybe
fruits?
That's right. Maybe 2003, 2001 will show a little bit more fruit. At this stage, is so tertiary already. Fruits, if it's like dried plum and dried fig. More on that sense.
A lot of leather.
But very, very lifted. Very lifted.
Oh, really?
Very lifted fruit. Okay. Very lifted tertiary aromas.
Yeah. So you can't get any fruits in here?
No, there's no signs of... he's not tired. I wouldn't say tired. He's just tertiary. He's just mature. And he's 2008. He's not even that crazy young. But it's just so interesting. Is when you try a young Malbec, is so black fruited, black plum, black cherry, and violet and lilacs, etc. I feel like there is flower here, but it's really dried flower. Imagine an orchid that you see the leaves falling off when they start getting brownish and stuff. This is what's happening here. Or even
as a kid when you get the yellow pages, which is like our old phone directory, and you used to put flowers in the middle and then leave them for a summer and then come back and they'd be dried.
Dried roses, dried violets. I'm more on the dried violets than dried roses, to be honest. But a vibrant old aroma in it. It's amazing. Cheers. Very excited to try this. Wood spice. Well, I still couldn't get past the nose.
First thing I get is a massive whack of acid.
It's true, yeah.
Very high acid.
Very high acid for the old wine.
Yeah.
For the old wine, wine with a lot of tertiary aromas, and it still stings with acidity, isn't it? It's lovely. It's very, very nice. Still a lot of freshness.
And acid so high, the tannins there, but nowhere near that acid level.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because that's what you need for
aging.
Aging, right? You need high acid and tannin to get to we're nearly at 15, or we are at 15 years for this bottle of wine. Take us through what you're feeling for it.
Very, very, very good.
Really?
Very lovely.
Okay.
Very, very lovely.
Well, tell me why it's lovely, because this isn't setting my world on fire.
Really, for me, it's when you have a sip, is that pungency of straight on the nose. It's volatile. There is exposure to oxygen or contact with oxygen over the years, So there is that sense of exposure to oxygen. So that is actually drying the fruit as well, drying the figs and the prunes and the dates into this almost, imagine when you have dried fruit, when you have a raisin, it's like sharp searing acidity, right? And this is what's happening with this wine too. And then that lifted fruit aroma on the palate is sharp searing acidity still, That may indicate, of course, obviously the climate, which a little bit higher altitude was quite wet, rainy all year long, with some very very strong sun days, but then last minute for harvest it was very like a massive heat wave in Clare Valley. So but most of the Shiraz, for example, was already picked. Most best Malbec was already picked. So and this kind of feels a little bit of that in the glass as well, that heat last minute harvest.
It does feel hot.
Yeah. But then again, you can see the all year long wet with slightly cooler parts, and that may what's giving this lift acidity in this wine. So pretty interesting. Tony and Lita Brady, they took over. When they took over the winery, it was already very very well established. I mean, the winery dates back to the 1800s, and some of the oldest vineyards were planted in like 1890s, and then 1920s, 1930s, and consecutively until today. But some very very old plots, very old vineyards. And then again, Tony and Lita Brady, everything they do apparently, and again by Kristen, which is the friend that we know in common. Every single thing they do has a meaning. Like, they do not move a stone in the winery, in the vineyard, if it doesn't need to be. And everything is so methodical. Methodical. That is just perfect. And
when I heard that, I was like, wow.
Did they tell you that?
I love that story, because that's winemaking,
moving bottles, moving cuttings, everything. It just has to be. It just has to be that way, and on that day, at that hour of the day, and that's how they see. It's very special. It's very cool.
So there's the Malbec. I have to say, not my favorite. If you want to take this one home, that one's for you.
I hope you don't like any of them.
Let's talk about this. What have we got in front of us? This is the 2003?
We got the 2003, yeah. 2003 Cabernet Malbec. Very, very different nose from... and actually, I want to bring my...
Oh, it is different.
Previous glass. Very, very different. You see?
Yeah, I prefer this nose.
Still Malbec, but you have a little bit more fruit.
I prefer this nose because I get the fruit.
Yeah, you have a little bit more fruit in here, even though he's older. He's 5 years older. He's 5 years older, but the Cabernet Sauvignon here brings a little bit more, black fruit, black currant, black plum, but then again, nothing fresh about them. But definitely more lifted fruit. So and more pencil shaving, more earthiness, more graphite-y, almost like a pottery, clay, dusty.
I get what you mean. Yeah. Patrick Swayze style. I want you to wrap your arms around me, hold the glass in front of me, and I want you to pour it in my mouth.
I think we may have said this before, but this is a totally different level. Similar, but on a very, very different level. The Malbec was definitely more aged. It feels more aged than the 2003. And it's very interesting because he's 5 years younger, but he feels older than the Malbec. That is the Malbec with its tannins, acidity, body, alcohol, preserving the wine fresher and bringing, and then again is majority of Cabernet. When you look at this color versus the color of the 08, is also deeper. He's not as it's the
not.
color.
It's definitely deeper. You can see the Cabernet, but you can also see the influence of age on those, that rusty clay brick edging.
And this is where it gets interesting. This is 2003. The previous one was 2008. Which bottle
was it?
2008.
Oh,
so I know for a second I thought I made the mistake.
No, you're right.
5 years older. Oh. Sorry, 5 years older.
Yeah, the one we've got now.
Yeah, and which one would you keep on your wine fridge for another 10 years?
The Cabernet.
The Cabernet, the second one, which is indeed.
So it makes sense that it's still getting that fruit.
A little bit more fruit.
And it's 5 years older. Oh my God, these wines are so old. I forgot we were going down this way. That was the youngest wine we're going to have today.
And you know what? No, this are the youngest. This is the youngest, and this will be the oldest. Yeah, from youngest to oldest. Palate, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see that with Madrak, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Malbec.
Okay, so I grabbed Carlos on the shoulder then as I was swirling around in my mouth because this, yeah.
Chocolate, milk chocolate now on the finish.
Beautiful tannins though, like much more tannins than the Malbec, but just
more tannins than the Malbec, but less acidity.
Less acidity, way less.
Yeah.
It's like they've swapped.
Yeah, and here the Malbec clearly is just bringing this lovely, robust fruit. It's 2003, so it's a lot of age. It's gone to tertiary. It's gone to this dried aroma, dried fruit. A lot of that, for me, is a lot of tobacco. The graphite was more on the first nose and on the palate less so, like chewing the pencil kind of aroma. And I'm trying to pick a little bit of that pyrazine or the blackcurrant. Pyrazine is an enzyme that comes from blackcurrant leaf, the blackcurrant fruit. But here it's past that. It's past that. That fruit is gone. The leafiness, if it's again a little dry, but it's just beautiful. It's showing really nicely.
All right, so very excited to try this as we go a little bit older.
Okay, I will pour this time first for me so I can get if there's any cork. No, there isn't.
Nah, how lucky.
This was good.
What a surprise. This looks like me. This, do you know what? When you poured the Malbec, it was too bright. Too bright already. Whereas this has got that darkness.
Brown.
This is Shiraz Mataro.
Yeah.
So this is this isn't as brown.
This is between the two. This is between the Malbec and between the Cabernet Malbec. It's he has some tones, like on the rim has tones of the Malbec, a little bit more brown brick color.
Yeah.
And on the core is a little bit more like the number 2, a little bit darker. So it's kind of it's right between the two.
Yeah.
To be honest. Cheers.
Salud.
Ooh, this is more like you, yeah. It's Shiraz, yeah. Shiraz Mataro.
But it's also much more shy. I find this way more shy than the other two. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong?
A little bit closer, yeah. A little bit yeah, that's right. A little bit closer. Could be a few things because it's older wine, 2001. Could still be, again, as you said very well, shy, a little bit closer. We say in wine term.
Closer?
Close, still close. It's still closed. It's still closed.
Yep.
It needs a little bit more aeration. You could decant this wine.
Decant it.
That's right. Yeah. This is when you taste and you're like, okay, no, let's decant it gently.
But also talking about decanting with a wine this old, people think decant it, leave it for an hour in the thing.
Or overnight or something like this.
None of that, right?
I mean, not for me.
You decant and then pour, right?
Decant and pour at the table straight away. Or in the situation like this where you open this wine. We opened this wine like half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago now. Yeah, it was when it started 40 minutes ago. And it's a little bit shy right now, a little bit closed. You could decant this wine right now and if you are having a meal, decant it and you will enjoy it as you go. But for me, I would not do that because it's 2001. I want to enjoy every step of this bottle of wine. I would open another bottle of wine on the side and pour another glass and keep enjoying this one and another bottle at the same time. And just extend this one life much longer, the same time as you would decant it and, instead of speeding up the process by decanting. It feels younger again than the 2003.
Yeah,
the older he gets, he feels younger.
I would have, I definitely would have thought that was the oldest.
Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
Honestly, me too.
So you would have struggled with vintage, right? Just having the 3 in front or 4
with old vintages is always very, very difficult to pick age. You can say it's old, but with old wines, old Burgundies, old Riojas, old Chiantis, they all look very, very similar. Old Shiraz, old Cabernet, they become closer and closer. So it's very, very difficult. But yeah, the 2001 so far is the oldest of the 3, and it feels the youngest.
Yeah.
Middle in color, as in between the 2 others, while Malbec was much older, much more tertiary colors, more brick color, more brown tones. Number 2 was deeper in color, deeper than the first 2. And now this one, we're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm interested to see how the Mataro affects the Shiraz.
Yeah, Shiraz on its own with a lot of age, a lot of wild blackberry, wild black sherry, a lot of that pungency as youth, right? As we've seen a lot of times last year. But here it's much more much more complex than that. It's that spicy old spice, and old spice is
not the
Old
deodorant.
spice. Yeah, no, not that.
Cheers.
Old like pastrami. Pastrami is how you call the meats cooked the meat around the another one of you.
Yeah, this is nice. Yeah.
This is why I like Wendouree.
I feel like the Malbec's acid was higher than this.
It was, yeah, but then again, it shows that's what 9 years, or 8 years, 7 years. Sorry, 7 years.
More alcohol.
It feels more alcoholic.
I haven't checked this. I have no idea because we just found out where it was on the label.
Yeah, it feels way more burning for sure.
Oh, it says 13.8. So the Cabernet...
It's about the same, yeah.
Yeah, is it 13.9? But this, the perception...
Is way more. It's burning down the throat way more.
But also, and I swear to you, this sounds... It doesn't probably sound ridiculous because you're paying for the bottle. It's a more pleasant burning.
For you, yeah?
No, just in general, like the wines that were drinking at $20.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, the burning was like...
Well,
and here is like, it's like...
Because you see all the...
I feel it going down into my stomach.
You see all the layers of complexity as well in this fruit. I prefer the first sips on the Cabernet Malbec, but I'm preferring the last sips now after on the glass of the Shiraz Mataro. Now it's actually getting really delicious.
The 1999.
It looks fresh. Color looks still younger than the Malbec.
Wow.
It looks younger.
What's the mixture here? What do we got? What's a blend?
Shiraz
Malbec.
Was Shiraz Malbec.
1999 and still holding this color.
He's holding a better color than the Malbec.
The Malbec hasn't held its color that well. Yeah. But you loved it, and that's why you get to take it home because you're so lucky.
I'm glad we opened that one at first. Because
I'm glad you pronounced your love for it, and I said I didn't love it that much. That's what I love. There is a sense of fruit here, which is nice. The only one that hasn't had a sense of fruit is the Malbec.
The Malbec, to me, has more sense of fruit and fresher fruit. Is closer to fresher fruit than any of the other three, in my opinion. Cool. And it's the 1999.
See, I think this was the most fruit forward for me. Which
for me is this.
This being the Cabernet Malbec, the 2003.
That was number 2.
Yeah, number 2. Yeah. Good idea. Go back to that on the nose.
No, you smell it now. It smells like
it
changed a lot. Yeah, because you need another glass. And again,
it smells like licorice. Like all sorts.
Radish, not radish. Sorry, no radish. Celery, like celery stick, old celery stick.
Oh my god, celery stick's a great chat.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it does smell like the end of a celery stick when you bite it and that.
Yeah.
Good call, man. But it does have a sense of sweetness on the nose as well that I want.
Celery leaf, celery stick.
Yeah, that's just changed. We might have to pop open up and just open.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing with aged wines. Imagine you decant it. It's only been what?
Yeah, I know.
So if you decant it,
that's a great point.
You see?
Yeah.
So that's why.
What you're saying is the 2003. If you were to decant that between two people, already you've lost a lot of those. Initial tertiary.
Because it's even older. So
yeah. Cool.
That's why this is so interesting because it's a totally different game from trying very young wines. Yeah.
Okay. Palate.
Cheers.
So wood. What a pleasure.
Palate here. Sorry, no. I'm still on the nose. I still enjoy so much the nose. Just how it coats the mouth, how it makes you salivate. There's still acidity. Tannins are soft and silky, juicy. My mouth keeps. I already stopped the wine 10 seconds ago, and I keep salivating.
And the acid's there. Yeah.
It's the acid, but it's also the complexities, the fine. I don't know. There's something that pops on a palate that is the acidity, but it's the acidity with the wine on it that I don't know. It's just so pleasant. It's really, really good. I think this is the best bottle of wine that we had in every single podcast. This is my...
Yeah, I mean, the first one, the Malbec, you thought was better than the Chateau Hall Drac. If people are watching this or listening to this and they're like, I want to try Wendouree after we've just gone on about it for a long time, look for a 1999 bottle of this.
1999, which was very, very good. Is excellent vintage across the board. Clare Valley did really, really well. They do from memory 60 to 80% Shiraz, and then the rest is the Malbec.
So what is this mix again?
Shiraz Malbec. So.
And the last one was Shiraz Mataro.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
So depending on the years, they blend a little bit more, a little bit less. But that's a great showing bottle. But then again, every single bottle, it will be a different experience.
Should you have a little more?
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome to season 2, everyone. Look, I don't think it's always going to be like this. I think for season 2, episode 1, we had to come out with a bang, and especially after you mentioned Wendouree so much, to give people an idea who are watching or listening to this what they can expect, because it is asking a lot of money to ask for high money in the hundreds, like 150 plus. For these, probably $200 plus, around that mark. It's a lot of money to ask, but there are reasons, and there's people out there who do want to find out what we're talking about. So we have made a huge jump from $30 bottles of wine in an episode to 800. But it's not always going to be like this. But yeah, I mean, Carlos, for me, you've been amazing the last year to come down to a level of wine that you haven't really gone to, not because you don't want to, but because you work in high-end restaurants. And so I felt like this was a treat to say thank you from myself and the listeners, to give you your favorite wine times 4 over a different 20 plus year vintage. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And very, very, very pleased. It was absolutely amazing experience for sure.